the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, and there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers. And through the smoke we come.
What a crash!
Welcome back to Retro Motorsport. First up, it's sun, sand and babes. Well, it's sand and babes because it's Wellington, so there's probably no sun. But it's round 3 of the 2009 Thundercats series.
There's something about the New Zealand summer, and the attraction is on the beach and in the water. Hi folks, and welcome to Summer Thunder 2009. We're up to round number 3. Here's a recap of some of the action from round number 2. This is Mount Maunganui, the PBS group, and also Robert Page Engineering getting together. There was close racing in all of the 12 heats, but in the final it was the points leader from round number 1 at Whangamata, and that was Rough Rider, Cole Arnott and Dave Sievers, taking the win at the Mount and going on to an unassailable points lead. This, though, is round 3. It's a whole different ball game here in Wellington, in the nation's capital. We're just down by Lyle Bay, right by the airport. And once again, we've got that big Wellington wind to contend with. Round 3 of Summer Thunder for 2009 comes to you from Wellington.
Okay, Mackay, here we are again in sunny Wellington at Lyle Bay, and it's turned it on again. The wind's here howling away.
It sure is. Now, there's not too much surf out there, but the wind is what's going to trip the boats up.
Yeah, it's the wind that actually gives the Thundercat boats a bit of speed, gets under the hull, picks the boats up. But clearly, there's a level where, hey, it goes too far and the boats are going to struggle. There's a northerly coming in from the top of the North Island here. As the boats come into shore, you're going to see them dance around the corners like ballet dancers. I know they're running around out there, changing props, changing the setups of their motors. So the guys that make some good decisions will come through in the end.
Well, a quick look at the points after 2 rounds, and it is Cole Arnott and Dave Sievers on top in Rough Rider. Second place, Jungle Coffee. In third, it is Waikato Sandblasting. Fourth is Goodyear. And in fifth, it's the Steves in Plumquick. The stage is set. You've heard Tony mention the wind. Not a lot of surf out there, but plenty of wind. Well, it wouldn't be Wellington without it, would it? We come down to the nation's capital, Wellington. As I said before, just behind the airport here in Wellington, you'll find the course, a typical Thundercat course, and on that last lap, it's a straight-out sprint to the beach. Heat number 1, they're underway. The Le Mans start. Who's it going to be? Line 7, we ride with him here. Take the helmet cam, and away we go. Not the best of starts for line 7, but out on the inside, that looks like Rough Rider's got a great start. We'll have a look as they work their way up into the first buoy. Riding here with Nigel Tongs and Scott Munro in line 7. This is the race leader, though. This is Rough Rider. Cole Arnott and Dave Sievers. And look at these two arguing about the spot. Jungle Coffee and line 7. Oh, and Jungle Coffee probably should have given line 7 a bit more racing room there. And it's cost them because they've dived through on the inside of the buoy. So I wonder what will happen with that. A little bit of close quarters racing there for second and third. No doubt about the winner, though. It is Rough Rider, Cole Arnott. Dave Sievers sprints up the beach, and they start where they left off from the previous round. Maximum points for Rough Rider. In second place, it is line 7. Third place will be Jungle Coffee. And fourth, it's the Steves in Plumquick.
Yeah, we got the boat set up right and trim and everything's good, so yeah, it's going good.
So heat number 2 of 12. Here at Lyle Bay. Once again, it's a dead engine start, the Le Mans start. Goodyear looks like they've got away quite well as well. Slate Creed in the middle there, getting away. Crash pad in this one too. Up on the outside, watch for Black Pepper by the look of it. Meantime, out on the front, turning on the buoy, it is Goodyear, Tony Vercoutrin and Aaron Fifield. Well, they're getting a little bit of attention there from Crash Pad, and Crash Pad's gone wrong here. Something's gone drastically wrong for Crash Pad in that first lap. Darren Jessup and Perrin Riley, they're out of it. Monsoon, they're very much in it. Mike Warren and David Hamilton. Meantime, Vercoutrin and Fifield will cruise to the beach and win easily. In second place, it'll be CSI, but Goodyear get the win. CSI are judged in second place, and then it's Smuggler, Monsoon and Spaceships. Neil Geddes in fifth.
Went back to winning Wellington, so it sort of favours us a bit than a lot of the lighter crews. So yeah, kind of heavy. Wouldn't mind a few waves in there to trip things up a bit as well.
Heat number 3 now on the sands of Lyle Bay here in Wellington. Green flag drops from Gary Morrison and we're underway. The start is so important. Oh, PBS Group struggle, but out in the front it's CMC Markets. It's got away the quickest of all. They are the youngest and the lightest combination out there, Gary Walker and Rebecca Gray. So coming from the outside there is CMC Markets as we go back on board here from the helmet cam. This is Waikato Sandblasting, Greg Powell and Sarah Burrell. You see Sarah, not much of her, but she's using all her weight to keep the bow of the little Thundercat down as they head down towards the beach once again, trying to get as aerodynamic as possible, shuffling from the back to the front of the boat. Up and over the waves, they turn and turn hard and then come adjacent to the beach now. Sarah Burrell, the UK champion, teamed up with the Waikato's Greg Powell in Waikato Sandblasting. You got the best seat in the house here at Lyle Bay. It's round 3 of Summer Thunder, round 3 of 6. And sandblasting, well, you can see from the shots, they're well clear. CMC Markets had a good start going, but it hasn't panned out that way for them. 2 laps into 5 now. We go back on board here, take the helmet cam from Greg Powell. Just get a graphic example of what the co-driver or the co-pilot has to do. Now she's got to dismount and sprint up the beach. She doesn't have to sprint. She wins it easily, does Sarah Burrell for Waikato Sandblasting. Second place will be the PBS Group, and in third place it's CMC Market.
It's really flat out there, so you think, and then you just get one wave and the wind gets under you. We had a couple of close calls where I dived forward at one point. And on the turns as well, because the boat's so high out the water, you just can't turn. But if I go forward too quickly, the boat digs in and then we'll get thrown out. It's pretty tricky.
Darren Jessup started his Thundercat racing journey with Neil Geddes in Spaceships 2 or more years ago. It wasn't long before the weekly beatings, both physical and mental, took their toll, and Darren and Neil parted ways. This made way for Perrin to come into the team. A new boat, More FM, was the catalyst for immediate success. That carried on this season with the Crash Pad sponsorship.
The anticipation of getting to the beach, and there's that specific race jittery thing that you have. That's quite cool, and being at the beach is fantastic.
So it is a new sponsor on board for the 2009 season. CrashPad is an online accommodation service.
Darren and Perrin, they've been racing a couple of seasons now. Last year they got the world record for flips in one beach at Piha, 3. So that was with a non-big surf day. In fact, very similar today with no surf. So pressure's on, pressure's mounting. Darren, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think this year we've focused a little bit more on mind games. We've obviously gone out and second-hand prop from a second-hand shop. Been testing that. I think also my co-pilot and I have been spending a lot of time together this week.
Team bonding.
Team bonding.
No. So Perrin, I think you're enjoying your role racing with Darren in front of CrashPad. You're one of the lighter crew members. We always look around and see you a bit of speed, bit of flapping around, always in danger of going over. Is that the case this week? Team bonding, bit of flapping around, almost going over a couple of times, or?
Darren looks after his co-pilots, that's for sure.
CrashPad, considered by many to be the jokers in the pack. They could win, or they could crash. Will they crash in this? This is heat number 4 at Lyle Bay, round 3 of Summer Thunder for 2009. And you're watching as CrashPad gets away and gets away well. And they're down on the inside, so they got every advantage in the book as they head out to the first mark. Look down on the left-hand side of the picture. That's CrashPad, Darren Jessup and Perrin Riley, and they're out in the front at the moment. And they've got quite a good lead. Novatech goes through in second place. And some of the favourites were well out the back door in this one. But there's no doubting about the front runners. CrashPad are doing the job here. Darren Jessup and Perrin Riley. Look at the lead they've got. This is unheard of in 5 laps of racing. There's a fair bit of traffic further back. Black Pepper in it, so too Rob Page Engineering. But they're fighting for the minors. These guys are heading to the beach easily in the front of this. Heat number 4 falls to CrashPad as easy as you like. Second place will be Nova Technologies, and in third place it is the PBS Group. Fourth place is CSI, and in fifth, Slate Creek.
Yeah, our fuel line came out on the first race. That was disappointing. And so we've taped it all up, and yeah, it's very windy out there, as you know, so it's just all about holding on.
Well, heat number 5 now for the competitors here at Lyle Bay. And you heard Darren Jessup say it's just a matter of holding on. Well, can these guys hold on? This is Jungle Coffee. You're on board with the boys. Oh, and a terrible start for the Steves, Frogley and Morrison and Plumquick. They didn't get the start they're looking for, and now they're playing catch-up. We're back on board here with Jungle Coffee. And they have got a bit of a battle on their hands as well, because Nigel Tongs and line 7 just up in front of them. And this could have ramifications for the championship as well. Rough Rider out in front, line 7 in second place, Jungle Coffee in third. They'd be the top 3 rated boats here after 2 rounds. This is round 3 of Summer Thunder 2009, and Cole Arnott and Dave Sievers out in the front. This is the boat that's currently sitting in third place. This is Jungle Coffee, Glenn Bernand and Greg Norman. Just up ahead of them, it is line 7, Nigel Tongs and Scott Munro, but these guys are going to hit the sand first. And once again, Dave Sievers will hardly break a sweat to win heat number 5 here at Lyle Bay. Second place will be line 7, and in third it is Jungle Coffee. Fourth, CMC Markets, and in fifth it is Monsoon.
We're all happy. Everything's going well. Been sick all week, so it's good to come and win a few races. So hopefully it carries on.
A regular feature on the show will be Thunder Time. It's our chance to ask our resident expert, Tony Vercoutren, the wheres, the why-fors and the how-tos of Thundercat racing. Today, it's all about the W-Boy.
Well, the W-Boy, that's the one smack bang in the middle of the course. That presents a chicane for this type of racing, where the racers go around the bottom buoy and they head straight back out to sea, and they have to turn sharply around this W-Buoy back into shore. So the boats that are coming into this on the outside coming round are then on the inside. So you've got to pick your lines, and it's the area where the co-pilot really has to do a lot of work getting across the boat to make sure the weight distribution is correct.
And it's an area we've seen pretty much all the spectacular action over the 3 rounds so far.
Absolutely, it's right in front of the crowds, and it's the area where boats are coming into a buoy together. You're going to have a lot go wrong.
Well, this is Summer Thunder 2009. Air New Zealand struggling to get a bit of elevation. We've seen plenty of elevation in the Thundercat racing. No, this is heat number 6 of 12. Now is the top spot on the inside of the outside. Waikato sandblasting straight out of the middle of the start area, and they will lead it, I think. Well, will they? As they turn up onto the first mark, they're going to be caught up on the outside as we go to our helicam shot here. Waikato sandblasting came off the start like a bullet out of a gun, and they've carried the speed. Goodyear sitting right alongside them, and on the inside looks like Quick and Zane Randall and Anthony Coombs, but it's Vercoutren and Fifield out in the front, but Waikato sandblasting coming back at them and really having a hard job of it, caught up in the whitewash, the spray if you like. Fifield looks around, now he goes to the bow of Goodyear. Here comes the inside run from Waikato sandblasting, and they've done it, or have they? They're going to get caught out for track position here, and as they run down to the beach, who's it going to be? It's going to be Goodyear. Oh, Waikato sandblasting nearly put it into orbit, but it's Fifield that gets the win. Sarah Burrell out of the boat, she'll get second place. And in third it will be Quicken. So an exciting round there. Heat number 6 of 12. Well, they say that the wind is a problem. Have a look at the points at the halfway mark. It is Goodyear on top, so they'll be consistent, and they're locked together with Rough Rider on 200. It all started in More FM, and these pictures will tell you it was a take no prisoners attitude that was fostered by the boys that continues to this very day. A silver medalist in the Gravity Games, a past New Zealand captain and unbeaten in Trans-Tasman competition. Fifield and Vercoutren were the ones to beat. A change of sponsor, but not a change in attitude, and more top 5 finishes awaited. Tony Vercoutren and Aaron Fifield can always be counted on to put on a show. And if it's close, you wouldn't bet against them.
When you're out there, pilot and co-pilot together share a lot of things that probably you don't share with anyone else in life, like going to the top of Cape Reinga and boats breaking down, and
Cook's Strait.
Had some interesting events happen.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you saved my life probably about 3 times.
Oh, yeah, I do recall pulling into the boat many times.
Oh, mate, it's because you're younger and tougher than me, but out there we enjoy it as teamwork. I think we're still in the top 10 this year, second last year, but we'll probably still, we've got a bit of room to move, and I think we feel we can, don't we?
Definitely. Oh, yeah, much more improvement to go.
The more surf, the better, eh?
Absolutely. Bring on the surf, bring on the waves.
Well, not much surf here in Lyle Bay, but plenty of action, and Goodyear right in amongst it again, along with Crash Pad. This is heat number 9 of 12, and we're 2 laps into this 5-lap race. There's Kerry Wood and Bit Defender, and it looks like Spaceships has turned Turtle, Neil Geddes and Taxi Hudson. Well, that means the red flag will come out, and it means that Goodyear got to do it all again, and this time they got a little bit more close attention from Crash Pad. And it is oh so close as they run to the beach, but it's Aaron Fifield that finds his running form a little bit better than the boys in Crash Pad. Perrin Riley taking a tumble, but he'll get second. In third place it is Black Pepper, and in fourth H2O Full Throttle. Well, we move on to heat 10 now, and here is a graphic example of how to be a hero and then a zero. Into the buoy goes Goodyear. That's for Caltrin and Fifield. You're on board with them as they take a swim. And that means the race is restarted. Here it is on the replay. Bit Defender on the outside, Kerry Wood and Russell Litchwark. But all the action is underwater here. The race is restarted, and Jungle Coffee get their first win of the day. Second place it is CMC Markets, and in third place Quicken. PBS Group of fourth, and Bit Defender are through in fifth place.
The wind and the conditions, well, there's not a lot of waves, but the wind's wreaking havoc with everybody, and just knowing how to read the wind puffs on the water makes all the difference.
This time on Thunder Time, we show you how to get to the beach. We've shown you in previous shows how to get around all the marks. Well, now it's the hardest part of the contest, and that is running to the beach. Tony Vercautrin, you're a master at it.
Yeah, Phil, well, not me so much, but the co-pilots, that's where they make a difference. This has to be one of the delights for the crowd. You can see the boats here, they finish on the sand, and often the boat that lands first doesn't get there first. There's a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong, and believe me, they often do.
And here's an example of that. The boat turns sideways, makes it so much harder for Aaron.
I think, Phil, the important thing to remember is there are no brakes on these things, so timing is all imperative. Those boats can't go beyond the finish line, but you've really got to deliver your co-pilot.
Heat number 11 now here at Lyle Bay. It's round 3 of Summer Thunder, brought to you by Bit Defender. And once again, well, the bad luck this time for Spaceships. They got upside down in a previous heat, but no bad luck for this guy. Cole Arnott and Dave Sievers, too good for them in heat number 11. Rough Rider get another win here at Lyle Bay. Second place is Crash Pad, and in third place it's Ribs Norton and Novo Technologies. Fourth is Plum Quick, and in fifth it's Black Pepper. Heat number 12, the final, before we decide who's in the final and who gets to go home early. And this time it is Smuggler that have got a great start. Logan Pringle and his father Dave alongside him. Line 7 have got a bit of work to do. They're caught up in behind there with Slate Creek coming through. And here comes Waikato Sandblasting, so the white flag is out and 1 lap to go, and Sandblasting's picked the pocket of Smuggler. Well, they dived up the inside. This is the last lap, so is that all she wrote? Sarah Burrell getting as aerodynamic as possible. Smuggler have got a bit of a problem getting over the waves, and so too of Waikato Sandblasting. It's not going to make a difference for the result, though. Sarah runs up the beach and takes heat number 12. In second place, it is the father and son combination and Smuggler Marine, and in third place, the best performance from Demon Energy.
So that was a close first there for Waikato Sandblasting.
Yeah, it was. We needed that. Had a couple of bad places, so it was good to get one back. Just he's a good driver, he's new, so it was just lucky we got him on that last straight down towards the beach there.
So if we have a look at the points, this will determine the grid positions for the final. Rough Rider on top on 400. Waikato Sandblasting in second. Then it's line 7. Watch 2 for Jungle Coffee. Further down through the field, Quicken makes the top 10. So too the PBS Group and CMC Markets. We are set for the final here. Round 3, Lyle Bay, Summer Thunder, 2009. Well, we'd love to tell you the wind has abated, but it hasn't, and that's going to be a factor here as we get set for the final. Who's going to get to their boat first? Remember, it's a dead engine start. You're watching from the helicam here of Perrin Riley on Crash Pad. They don't get away too well. In fact, they've got a fair bit of work to do now because they've been left in the wake of the rest of the boats, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's Rough Rider out in the front. It isn't. It's Vercautrin and Fifield and Novatech right in beside them. Here comes CMC Markets as well. Gary Walker and Rebecca Gray, but it is Vercautrin and Fifield leading him as they turn over the first mark, head adjacent to the course now. Straight out the back, Goodyear in the front. Look at the style of Aaron Fifield as they take the buoy at full speed. CMC Markets has moved through into second place. You're on board here with Crash Pad. And this is Darren Jessup and Perrin Riley. They got a bit of work to do when they got very close to the buoy that time. I don't think they hit it. If they do hit it, they lose half their points. If they go right over the top of it, they get disqualified. So you've got to keep away from the boys. Best seat in the house, riding with Crash Pad. Best place to be in the final, out the front. That's where Tony Vercoutrin and Aaron Fifield are. This is Waikato Sandblasting just up in front of Crash Pad. So this has been a great recovery. But is anyone going to catch this combination? Perennial top fives. They like it when it's a bit rough. It's not rough here, but it's windy. And look at Waikato Sandblasting come under intense pressure now from Crash Pad. Last lap for the final, and CMC Market starting to put the pressure on Vercoutrin and Fifield here. Rebecca Gray starting to prepare to get ready to dismount, but it's going to be Goodyear is going to hit the beach first. Fifield leaps off the bow and runs up the beach, has a quick look at Rebecca Gray, knows that he's got her measure, and Goodyear take the final and get the 50 points. In second place it is CMC Markets, and in third place Novatech. PBS Group round out the 5 in the final here at Lyle Bay.
We really wanted a clean sweep today, and we failed to do that, so we said we're going to win the final. We did it from grid 5. We're wrapped. Well done, mate.
Redeemed. Really had a good battle against Tony there and catching him up. One more lap and we would have had him, I think.
So it is Rough Rider continuing to lead after 3 of 6 rounds in Summer Thunder 09. Second place is Jungle Coffee, and in third place it is Waikato Sandblasting.
So Wellington has lived up to its name, the Windy City, yet again. And although the conditions out there have been fairly flat, it's the wind that's been tripping the boats up.
Absolutely. Look, as Thundercat, as we come to Lyle Bay, Central City Beach, capital of New Zealand, we come here because of the surf. You know, it's a well-known surf beach. Every time we turn up, there's no surf, but plenty of wind, you know. So once again, Rough Rider, they go and win the day here. They prove that they're a boat for all-round conditions. Second place, Goodyear. Despite having an incident where they went over, they got good results. Yep. Okay, so they still came in second place. Third place, Jungle Coffee, proving that they're having a good season and got that little bit of consistency that maybe they've lacked before. Good to see CMC Racing with a female co-pilot, Light. Really well. Not something I would have necessarily thought, but proved they set their boat up well for the conditions and they hung on in there.
Absolutely, and I'm really looking forward to the next round at Waipu Cove. Fingers crossed that the surf will be nice and big there.
Next up, we go Suzuki Sport Cup Racing in Timaru, and it's 2012.
This week on Fujitsu Motorsport NZ, it's round 4, the CRC 200 from Levels Raceway in Timaru. Yes, we get random and go racing with the sensational Suzuki Swift Sport Cup. Coming up, find out what happened and why with this big smack, plus highlights of all 3 races and some action from the Sports and Production GTs.
Race 1 for the Suzuki Swift Sport Cup lines up with championship leader AJ Lauder off the pole alongside Mark Gibson. Chris Cox from grid position 3, Jamie Gaskin out of position 4. Row 3 start for position 5 for Andrew Vincent with Sam Barry out of 6. Grid position 7 for Glenn Collinson with Kent Yarrell in the Castrol Suzuki next to him. Sean Lawrence and Rob Gibson complete row number 5, back to Craig McRae and Brad Lauder from the 6th row. As we await for the lights to go out. Revs building up, and we're away. Good start from AJ Lauder. Chris Cox didn't get a great start. In fact, it gets worse. He may have missed a gear. As they swarm in behind him, Lauder's going to lead down through the first sequence of corners. Andrew Vincent's going to find himself out on the grass. A little bit of a squeeze there. Glenn Collinson right in the middle of it as well. But out of all of that Paul. I think they've actually got through that relatively unscathed.
12 in and 12 out. It's a good start. We've got pretty busy there for a while. Yeah, you're right. Chris Cox did get a bad start compared to how he started the previous races, and he'll be a bit disappointed. But like in the last races we've seen, Chris, he knows how to put his head down and get back into race mode, doesn't he?
Absolutely. There is Sam Barry in the number 71. So Cox has slided into that 4th position and behind Jamie Gaskin, 2 of the young guns. So many of the young guns, certainly out of kart sport, featuring the Suzuki Swift Sport Cup. So AJ Lauder with a 58-point lead over Chris Cox. Mark Gibson in 3rd, 140 points out of the championship lead. And equal 4th, Jamie Gaskin and Sean Lawrence, 153 points down. So, I mean, that's within 2 races. Still a lot of racing left to go here in the championship.
Yeah, lots of racing left to go. And Sean and Jamie have come into this round tied for 4th on 495 points. Sean a little bit disappointing with his qualifying result, qualifying down in 9th, and Jamie now running 3rd in the race. So, you know, if it carries on like this, Sean's going to lose a little bit of ground in the championship race, but a long way to go yet, Jamie.
Yeah, they're just lacking a little bit of straight line speed, which could be set up. Just you've got to get a good entry onto the back straight here. That's all important, especially with the drafting capabilities of these little Suzukis. And we saw a fair bit of bump drafting in the previous round at Teretonga, and maybe expect to see the same here in Timuru's Gaskin, looking to get a run on Gibson, who's parked the Norwood Suzuki down on the inside line of the back straight. And
Jamie's looking really racy, isn't he?
Well, he has done for the majority of the championship. The roadie Suzuki, Jamie Gaskin out of Wellington. So the top 4 have just got away a little bit, even in this opening sort of lap and a half. Sam Barry, Kent Yarrell, Ben Collinson, Sean Lawrence, Andrew Vincent, Rob Gibson completing the top 10.
Yeah, I think these guys benefit from that their little incident in turn 2 near the start, and they've got away, as you say, on the rest of the field. And Chris Cox is just working his way to the back. Keep an eye on Chris Cox, I think, in this race.
Yeah, well, maybe not quite as many passing opportunities here at Levels as we saw the previous round at Teretonga, and probably even more so than round 2 at Powerbook Tools Raceway in Christchurch. There's the gap back to the 5th place Sam Barry with Kent Yarrell right in behind him, who was the pole sitter at Teretonga, which was a pretty good effort for the scholarship winner.
Yeah, he had a great qualifying session at Invercargill. He loves the wet, Kent, and the guy's got a great setup on that car, and he had a great qualifying session. He went on to finish 4th in the race. He was happy with that, and he got his first podium for the season, finishing 3rd for the weekend. So he, once again, a little bit disappointed with his dry qualifying, but he's put his head down. He qualified in 8th, and he's moved up 2 places so far in the race.
Jamie Gaskin just covering Chris Cox. Jamie Gaskin actually poled here a year ago at Timaru.
He did, but the weekend belonged to Chris Cox, didn't it? That's where the Chris Cox sort of made his mark on the series last year and had some great results here last year.
Yeah, Chris Cox last season with 3 race victories over the championship, which again just continues with some great momentum. Again, Cox just closing up under brakes, but as we said, just not quite as many passing opportunities. If you can get a good run out of turn 10 onto the front straight, maybe up the inside under brakes into turn number 1, and again a good run onto the back straight sort of translates down to 4 with a passing opportunity up the inside. Probably not going around the outside is the idea.
No, not here. It's not forgiving, is it? They've done a lot of work to the circuit though between last season and now, and it's looking really, really nice. There's a lot of safety features being improved, and you know, I think the guys are pretty happy about that.
Well, like Teretonga, it's one of the nicest surfaces in the country too, and that's the thing. Going to the slightly harder Dunlop compound, how have you seen that sort of translate over the last few rounds? Because we've got, you know, this is our 4th different racetrack, and you know, probably arguably at least 3 quite different surfaces.
Yeah, absolutely, and then with one wet round last weekend in Invercargill, and there was no tyre wear whatsoever. This compound Dunlop tyre is one we used 2 years ago. It suits our cars, and they tend to go fairly quick on it, and I'm expecting to get down to lap record pace before the end of the race. We're on quickest lap time at the moment is 16.1, and I think our lap record's around a 15.8 set by Cody McMaster back in 2008 or 9.
Yeah, 2009, 1:15.8. It's only 3 tenths off there at the moment, and again, we talked about it at Teretonga when we were doing the commentary in that first longer race, where we sort of expected the cars to come on a little bit later with lower tyre pressures with the longer laps. And in a sprint race format like this, it's probably around lap 3, lap 4, maybe lap 5 into a 10-lap sprint race. As
That's where you normally find the quickest lap is generally there. The qualifying this time sort of put play to that, and some of the quicker laps were near the end, but
Here's Chris Cox. He's got ahead of Jamie Gaskin into the 3rd position. As AJ Lauder leads down onto the back straight ahead of Mark Gibson. This battle for 3rd. AJ Lauder, championship leader, certainly looking to extend because he's got at least 1 car between himself and Chris Cox. In fact, 2 now. Jamie Gaskin has completed that pass. So Gaskin 3rd, Cox 4th, Sam Barry back there in the 5th position, a couple of seconds further back. So Sam's had a solid first up run here at Levels.
Yeah, that's good. You know, he's hit that maiden win earlier in the year. And, you know, they had some bad luck at Invercargill with his teammate Glenn Collison rolling there in race 2. Got their car back, and once again, that team's putting on a great show.
So Gibson just filling the mirrors of AJ Lauder as Cox comes back at Jamie Gaskin. Again, just...
It's a long way around the outside of that turn.
Just the cover up into turn number 4, which is a pretty cool corner in any respect. It's certainly right up there with some of the best corners in New Zealand motorsport. Maybe not quite as good as the Southern Loop in Teretonga. Boy, did that claim some victims last weekend.
Yes, it did, didn't it? I think we had a 10-lap race that ended up in 3 laps of racing.
Oh, Chris Cox right up underneath the rear wing of the Roadie Suzuki. Last lap board about to come out. AJ Lauder looking for another win in the championship. Looking for win number 4 to maintain and extend that championship lead. As Gaskin continues to hold off Chris Cox, and if anything, Sam Barry's actually closing the gap to those 2 drivers disputing that 3rd and 4th positions. I think AJ looks pretty much under control here.
Yeah, he does. I think he's got it in the bag unless he makes a mistake between here and the finish line. Mark's tried everything he had. Not quite good enough this time, but I'm sure we'll see these 2 guys in action again in race 2, and they'll put another great show on for us.
And again, just over the last couple of laps, it looks like AJ gets a better
Cox
run.
Coming down here now, big run on Jamie Gaskin.
He's just done what Gaskin did to him on the lap previous.
He's
Gaskin.
brave to stay out there, Jamie.
Oh, this is going to close up. Coxie on the outside.
Oh, that's
They've
great.
done well.
They've done very well.
Oh, just about touching mirror to mirror. Gaskin to the inside, Cox. That's good racing from 2 youngsters.
Great racing. You know, they both gave each other room and looked after each other, and that's good to see.
Hopefully that sets the tone for the rest of the weekend, and maybe a few more of the senior drivers in other categories could sort of learn a lesson or 2 from these youngsters.
Yeah, well, we hold a couple of records in the Premier Motor Racing Series for the most inquiries and penalties in one race, and we don't really want that as we see AJ Lauder come down for another win in the series.
Flashing the headlights, AJ Lauder's 4th win of the championship. He will extend his championship lead. Battle for 3rd. Gaskin gets it on the line. Sam Barry wins the battle between him and his teammate Glenn Collinson. Victory for AJ Lauder. AJ Lauder can do no wrong with another race win extending his championship lead. Mark Gibson in 2nd ahead of Jamie Gaskin, followed by Chris Cox, Sam Barry, Glenn Collinson, Rob Gibson completing the top 10 in the 2nd of the Gibson team Suzukis.
Well, Jamie Gaskin and the Roadie Suzuki, understand you weren't that happy after the qualifying session, but how do you feel now after the first race?
Yeah, we're pretty happy, Clint. You know, it was a good, consistent finish in 3rd. It's good for the championship points, so we're pretty happy.
What were the problems before the race?
We had a few braking issues in qualifying, which we managed to sort out, and we've also had a bit of handling issues, but I think we're on top of them, so we should be fine for the next race.
Well, it can't have been too bad because you managed to get past Cox, which is pretty tough around this tight circuit.
Yeah, it seems to be at the moment. Him and AJ are quite quick at the moment, so it's getting tough out there, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of rounds.
Race 2 for the Suzuki Swift Sport Cup, and it's a reverse grid with Craig McRae and Brad Lauder starting off the front row. Rob Gibson and Sean Lawrence from row number 2. Go back to Andrew Vincent and Ken Garrell from row number 3. For row 4 start to Glenn Collinson and teammate Sam Barry. For row number 5, it's Christchurch's Chris Cox alongside Jamie Gaskin, 2 of the young guns. For row 6 start Mark Gibson and championship leader AJ Lauder. Waiting for the lights to go out. We've got one Lauder starting up front, one at the back, and Craig McRae getting a bit of a tardy start. Either Sam Barry or Brent Collins, I think might have been Barry going down on the grass. It's right, yeah, Lawrence made a fantastic
Great
start.
from Sean, yeah. And Bradley will be looking to improve on yesterday's result because he had a mechanical misfire in the car, and as we see,
McRae having
off the
further
track.
problems. He started off the front row. Chris Cox is already up into the 6th position. And he started from, about the 3rd last row. In fact,
he started at 8th.
Yeah. Oh, look at that down the back straight. Again, you don't want to be back probably further than about the third
Probably
car
don't want
at the
to be where
moment.
Sean is either, really. I'm glad he's come in, taking a tighter line there, but he might get under Bradley into this turn.
Sean Lawrence looking for the race lead.
It's a good crossover by Sean to take the race lead.
Like Chris Cox, you said, was struggling for a little bit of pace. Sean's just been struggling all weekend, and I think he's probably one of the guys that would have been saying, yes, rain.
Keep an eye on Kent Yarrell as well. Kent Yarrell was very, very fast at Invercargill in the rain. He qualified on pole, and he prayed all night for this rain, and his prayers have come true. So he's moved forward now to 4th, and he's challenging Bradley for 3rd.
Yeah, Chris Cox on the move. He's up into the 5th position already, having started from grid position 9. AJ Lauder hasn't got the greatest start, certainly compared to Chris Cox. So this could be an opportunity.
Oh,
we got one off. One of the Gibson cars up against the wall.
He was very hot into that corner. I was taking 3 or 4 of them.
Chris Cox is involved. He just copped a shot at the end of it. So 2nd in the points.
It's the same corner that Johnny Mack had the big crash in last year, and we lost a car there as well. So it can be quite slippery when it's wet, and the evidence is scattered all over the track.
Here's the replay. Well, he just got unsighted in behind Sean Lawrence.
Missed his braking point, I'm sure he did, and sped up actually. So we've gone yellow. We've got a full course yellow, and don't be surprised to see the safety car deployed. And with that car stopped there on the front straight, maybe even a red flag, so stand by.
Chris Cox with nowhere to go. Oh, that was a fairly big impact. Kent Yarrow went in behind, and Chris Cox. Cox kept sliding down the track. He collected Rob Gibson. And maybe he was unsighted. I saw something similar. Was it Sandown with Greg Murphy in his V8 supercars towards the end of the season? Did something similar in atrocious conditions.
Yeah. You just missed the braking point, and you know, there was so much water. I just hear on race radio now that there's been a request for the ambulance to enter the circuit, so I hope all our drivers are safe and well.
So safety car conditions here, with the ambulance more than likely coming out. That I would imagine would bring out a red flag, but we'll just keep you up to date with that. So both...
There's Glenn Collison in the shot is at the moment just holding on to his hip, and they're mentioning the person towards the front of the straight is complaining about being unwell. So
both team cars, Glenn Collinson and Sam Barry, got involved in that. So a big incident here at Timaru with the 2nd race for the
Chris
Suzuki
Cox's
Swift
car's
Sport Cup.
off the track there, Jamie, and it doesn't look like he'll restart from there. So how many cars are we going to be left with here?
Yeah, hard to say. Chris sort of got the end of Gibson sort of bouncing back out on track. So with the safety car coming out in this big incident, we'll return to Timaru on the other side of this for the Suzuki Swift Sport Cup. And Sean Lawrence leads the field away.
There's an investigation happening as we speak also, Jamie, between Mark Gibson and Kent Yarrell for something that happened when the safety car was deployed just after the accident. So that'll be interesting to see the outcome from that.
Well, it will be. Sean Lawrence, as I said before the incident, I think would be one of the only ones out there praying for rain because they've just been lacking a little bit of speed in the dry. There's Craig McRae. Didn't get a great start, and then he went off in turn number 1.
Yes.
So this is really going to help AJ Lauder in his championship chase because with Chris Cox out, that was nearest to him in the points, 81 points. So that's going to be a big swing here. Real disappointment for Chris Cox. Fantastic young kart racer, and we know that family-run team are pretty tight on budget. So hopefully, something does come out of this weekend for them.
Yeah, I hope it does, and he'll be pretty disappointed about that. But AJ was struggling a little bit, wasn't he, at the start? And he had only made his way up to 10th, and the accident has definitely helped him move forward through the field. But the car that's losing all the time right now is our scholarship car, Kent Yarrell. He's dropping back to behind the cars. He was challenging for 3rd before the accident, and now he's sitting in 7th.
Yeah, well, he was one of the cars that did make contact. Look at the left-hand side of it. He went down.
He went in fairly hard, and I'd say the car's probably not tracking that true anymore. So he's probably out there just survival with just over 5 laps to go.
So Kent Yarrell, he's been in the wars in this one. There were a few that ran off the edge of the track at this part of levels. I think you got to say, you got to probably be thankful for that conveyor belting type material that lines that part of the track, because I think that saved a lot more damage. You didn't have cars firing back out into the track off a tyre wall or anything like that.
Well, you're dead right. And the last time we come here and did lose a car in there, we didn't have that conveyor belt type material, and it basically took the front off the car as it's designed to do. But today they managed to just slide across there, and I think you'll find that most of the other damage happened with contact with other cars as they come off it. So it did its job.
Mark Gibson with a big run down the outside of Jamie Gaskin. Gaskin still with enough momentum. He's trying to get it turned into 4.
Bradley was very messy into that corner. He lost forward momentum, and you've seen the result now with Jamie Gaskin coming up the outside of him.
Oh, this is going to get busy. Mark Gibson's looking to go back down the inside of Gaskin again. Not a lot of room down there, just a little touch.
Very minor.
Certainly nothing enough to unsettle the car ahead, but Gibson's going to be on the outside on the approach up to the hairpin. And Andrew Vincent's going to have a sneak up the inside in the Hydrolink Suzuki. But again, they're going to cross over. That'll give Gibson the inside line to the next left.
And lurking in the background is AJ Lauder, so he's making his way through to the front of the field.
So Suzuki Swift Sport Cup second race. Here goes Gibson again. Down the inside of Gaskin. Should get the job done under brakes, which he does this time in the Norwood number 35. So Mark Gibson with 3 wins, AJ Lauder with 4, Sam Barry 1, Chris Cox 1, Glenn Collinson 1. Sean Lawrence looking for his first victory of the current season. I'm just going back through the memory banks to see if I can remember if, yep, Sean won 1 last season.
Yes, he did. It was also a reverse grid race, so Sean was always very racy in the reverse grid race last season, and this will help him because he lost ground in race 1 of this weekend. He would come into the weekend 4th equal in the championship, and I hope he can put it all together and get there in the end and stay in first.
Yeah, I don't want to put the commentator's curse on him because Graham will hunt us down.
I've got to go back there and work with him, so let's not do that just this early.
So Andrew Vincent having a good run here at Timaru for the second race. He goes to work on Jamie Gaskin as the rain continues. Brad Lauder coming back at Sean Lawrence. A little half look up the inside at the hairpin, and they're starting to back up because Mark Gibson's right there with Lauder to the outside. Vincent up into the 4th position. So Vincent's the big mover here. A little bit of separation between Vincent now and Jamie Gaskin back in that 5th position with AJ Lauder as Gibson goes around the outside of Brad Lauder into the 2nd position. Lauder's going to launch back up the inside. Oh, he did a good job.
Well, I didn't think that would have come off. I thought that was going to end in tears, Jamie.
Whoa, it nearly did off the exit at 2 as they splashed down off the exit curve. I thought that was going to be going through the grass, so he ran it wide down through
Mark,
3.
Mark will get him now, and I reckon Andrew will get him as well because Andrew's kept it nice and clean, and here he comes. Maybe not.
Oh, Brad got a great drive, and he's tucked right up underneath the rear wing of Gibson. He may give this another go down through into turn 4, John Jones. That takes a little bit of pressure off Sean Lawrence because they were sort of starting to group up on him. I mean, Lauder had a half look at the hairpin on the previous lap. As the last lap board is out here, Gibson to the inside of Lauder.
This is not ideal.
They give each other racing room though. Vincent's going to try and go up the inside a little bit of contact maybe on the way in. Just unsettled the 15. We saw this last year, and I think it was Mark Gibson that denied Sean Lawrence one of his wins, but I think touch wood, with lap traffic coming, that Sean Lawrence can hold on to this. I think he's got enough distance, needs good drive down out of the hairpin, which he gets. Oh, Gibson's coming.
1 turn to go.
Sean Lawrence looking for his first win of the current championship. Here comes Mark Gibson.
Fast.
No, he's got a big run. This is going to be close in lap traffic. No, Lawrence will hold on to it. Sean Lawrence takes his first win for the 11-12 season in the Liquorland Suzuki. So Sean Lawrence with the win from Mark Gibson, with Brad Lauder in 3rd ahead of Andrew Vincent, Jamie Gaskin and championship leader AJ Lauder.
Sean Lawrence, first win of the season, mate, in the Suzukis. You must be relieved.
Yeah, I'm rapt to get that first one out of the way. Like, we've tried hard all season. We almost had them at Pookie, but not quite. Mark had the pace, but yeah, absolutely rapt, and I'm thrilled to do it in the wet again.
How would you describe that race? Is it hairy and scary?
Definitely hairy and scary. It was probably like a bunch of pinballs on a skating rink by the looks of things from behind me, but we tried our best. Pretty hard to set a quick pace from the front. You know, it's uncharted territory every lap, and it's always different. So We pushed a couple of times and sort of had to peg ourselves back in spots, but I'm wrapped for the team and for the sponsors.
Well, Rob Gibson, tell us exactly what happened, mate, because it seemed to start a chain reaction.
Yeah, just went around the last turn and a bit of water on there, and the car just went sideways and everyone else sort of followed.
What was it like when you hit the brakes there?
Didn't hit the brakes, you don't want to make it worse, but just sort of tried to ride the car out.
So you were just sort of riding the accelerator coming onto the front straight and just no grip?
Yeah, just sort of pushed the car aquaplane sideways and just sort of skimmed along the wall. Lucky it damaged it too bad.
Well, normally we would be here with Chris Cox's car, mate, number 12, the Suzuki, but ooh, what happened?
To be honest, I got no idea. All I saw some cars in front of me go off, lifted off the gas and went to turn the corner as usual and just nothing there. Don't know whether I got hit, got no idea, just straight into the wall, and once you're on the grass and there's just no slowing down. You know, every corner got a whack and that's life, that's racing.
So they call that part of the track here the ice rink. Just how slippery was it and is it?
I've never felt anything like it, to be honest. You know, we do a whole race wet meeting last weekend and I'm fine and everyone's fine, and then you come here and it was just ridiculous, you know. No handling, no control, just straight off the end.
So how frustrating is it when you sort of like, you see one guy go off and then all of a sudden, bang, 3 or 4 just seem to follow the leader?
Well, I saw the front ones go off and I actually lifted off the gas, you know, slowed it down. I thought, you know, this is obviously slippery, and still went around the corner and just nothing there. And then even when I'm spinning around, I'm seeing the cars behind me go too, and there's just nothing you can do. You're just a passenger from that moment.
And from the...
Race 3 for the Suzuki Swift Sport Cup was lined up off points for the weekend, with Mark Gibson starting off the front row alongside AJ Law to go back to Sean Lawrence from row number 2 alongside Jamie Gaskin. Andrew Vincent in grid position 5 off row 3 alongside Brad Lauder. Then we go back to Sam Barry and Ken Yell, both cars having problems in race number 2. Rob Gibson and Craig McRae off row number 5. Completing the lineup, it is Glenn Collinson. Little creep forward there for Sean Lawrence as the lights go out. He stopped it before the lights went out, so it should be okay.
Should be okay, you're right there.
As Lauder goes to the outside, down through 1. Gibson's going to try and live there on the outside, and outside he goes, out onto the grass. He recovers, and they're going to be side by side through 3. Out on the dirty line, though, for Mark Gibson. He's going to get swamped up the inside by Jamie Gaskin in the Roadie Suzuki, and race 2 winner, Sean Lawrence, on a bit of a mission. We've already got some good old-fashioned NASCAR bump drafting. I was going to say drafting, but it just doesn't sound right coming from a Kiwi. So this grid lined up from points accumulated over the 2 rounds, of course, with the highest points starting off the pole, and that was Mark Gibson. But it's AJ Lauder, the championship leader.
Just turned time penalty for Sean Lawrence. 5 seconds for jumping to start.
Gibson,
as we see Mark Gibson have a huge crash.
Into the barriers goes up until then, the round leader.
The car looks pretty straight though. Mark may get this car going if he's okay.
I think he's dazed, certainly. He is moving around in the cockpit, but just, again, off track. It is still wet here in Timaru. We've had morning rain as the safety car has been dispatched. So, tough start. We'll have a look at the replay here. I didn't quite see what triggered it off initially. So it's Jamie Gaskin to the inside, and I think both just ran out of room, not giving each other racing room, and it just picked up speed and hard into the tyres lined with that conveyor belting. Here's the rearward angle of it. Yeah, not a lot that could be done about that one.
Once it flicked the other way, it was all over, and he was just a passenger from that point.
Lawrence is under investigation as we go to green.
Yeah,
well, he's got a jump start penalty of 5 seconds.
Absolutely, and Jamie Gaskin's under investigation with the incident with Mark Gibson, so the championship round can be turned on its ear in this race, can't it?
I'm not even going to try and figure this out.
No, it's too hard for us.
We know who's leading the championship. That's the easy part of it, and from here we go to the next round at Manfield, mighty Manfield. So Sean Lawrence, 5-second penalty for a jump start. Andrew Vincent's been having a strong weekend.
He's had a great weekend. He qualified 4th and had a strong race. He could have done better, but he had a couple of times where he run wide off the circuit. But, you know, going back to that, Sean, penalty. If the race had stopped at that point, he would have gone from 3rd to 9th. So it's a whole lot of points, isn't it, between 3 and 9?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, out of all of it, I mean, certainly AJ Lauder is going to make a big gain regardless of what happens here, because he has effectively gained, as we said, probably close to 40-odd points.
Absolutely. We've just seen Andrew Vincent pass Sean Lawrence as well on the track. So
yep. Made the run down the back straight. Jamie Gaskett in second. Now, there's some windscreen wipers going on here, Paul. I just wonder if we're just getting a little bit of light misty rain just coming in back in over Timaru. It might be a little bit more than that, just looking at that camera shot. There is some heavy rain back here at levels. I'm having flashbacks to Teretonga. Dry, wet, wet, dry.
Everybody's out there on a dry setup, and we talked about tyre pressures earlier in the day, so let's hope it doesn't come to too much. But the strange part about it is that one side of the circuit can be completely sunny and dry, and then they get to another part where they're unexpecting it, and it's pouring with rain.
It's only 2.4 kilometres long. It's not like Spa or the Nürburgring, but we saw it at Teretonga last weekend. So definitely some moisture around Timaru again.
The track's looking quite damp through there, isn't it?
As I said, at one stage during the weekend, if you want to break a drought, just
invite us along.
Motor racing.
Yeah.
He's
Ken Yarrow having a go on Sean Lawrence as well into turn 5.
Yeah, Sean's just struggling since the restart. He's lost a couple of positions as the rain certainly in the northern end of the track is a lot heavier than down through, sort of past the pits, down through turns 1, 2 and 3. We're at the halfway point here with this one. Oh, look how heavy it is here. It is bucketing down. Thankfully, all of these cars are on a treaded Dunlop Performance tyre.
Yeah. Turn 10's the worrying turn, isn't it? That's where we had all the carnage earlier on, and it gets very wet and slippery there, and you've seen the results of that earlier on today. Sean leads the circuit again.
That's out of 9 towards 10. You didn't know Timaru had an ice skating rink. They do. It's called turn 10 when it rains.
Just some of the dramas in between races in the pits. You know, Glenn Collinson obviously had a fairly heavy crash at turn 10 and done some damage to the car and also hurt his ribs. But the boys decided that they could fix that, and they got in and got all the repairs done. However, with 30 minutes to go before we were being released onto the circuit, we realised that the car had a diff issue, which had obviously been damaged by the impact. So some of Sean Lawrence's team and obviously our scrutineer Aaron Thornton and the Better Ford team, they got involved and they changed the gearbox, and I think there was 30 seconds left as we were entering pit lane. So it's good to see him running strongly in 8th.
I wouldn't be telling the world that, Paul, because everyone when they go into a Suzuki dealer is now going to be expecting their gearbox to be changed in a half an hour.
Absolutely, but there was 10 technicians on it, so 10 times 30, 5 hours.
That's about $500,000 labour, isn't it? So there is Glenn Collinson, teeming with rain. He'll be having flashbacks to race number 2, but he was the last start winner at Teretonga last weekend, his first ever win in the Suzuki Swift Sport Cup. Just, carrying that 5-second penalty that's going to drop him back. It's probably around that sort of 9th or 10th position at a minimum.
It's always a lovely presented car, isn't it? It's a credit to the Lawrence team. The car always looks 110%, and they do a really, really good job. I was in the pits earlier on, and all the Suzuki Grid kids that were there from their triathlon this morning, and Sean was standing there, and there hundreds of little children around him signing autographs, and they do a really, really good job, and they're a credit to our series.
Yeah, I had a quick chat to Graham before this race and just pointed out that we didn't put the commentator's curse on Sean, and he should remember that the next time that we do it. Accidentally.
The next time we need some supplies from a sponsor, maybe.
There is Graham Lawrence looking on.
Now, the Lawrence family come up to Chris Cox's parents after the last race and have offered their support to help rebuild the car before the next round. You know, all the teams get together when something like that happens, because Chris is a great young race car driver, and we want to have him there in Manfield. So we'll all do as best we can and help him get to the next round.
Oops, one of the Valences spitting off the side of one of the cars. Yeah, unfortunately, Chris Cox not starting this race, and that's why there's been such a big point swing for AJ Lauder. He was second in the points But I think they had some significant gearbox casing damage after that, fairly significant, well, probably 2 significant impacts in that crash in race number 2.
That's right. There's a crumple zone on the left-hand front chassis rail that's meant to bend in an impact, and it also houses the gearbox mount. So when you have an impact of the nature that he did, it actually breaks the gearbox mount out of the casing, and then obviously it won't hold oil, so we couldn't have fixed it anyway here today. So unfortunately, he hasn't started this race, but he'll bounce back, and we're looking forward to having him at Manfield at round 5 of the championship in 3 weeks' time.
As the last lap board comes out, the sun comes back out in Timaru.
Ironic, isn't it? We're about to leave Timaru, and we'll leave the sun behind.
Andrew Vincent trying to get the second spot off Jamie Gaskin on this last run home, last lap. It's been an eventful weekend for the Suzukis. AJ Lauder will be thinking this is a stormer of a weekend, because he's going to have well in excess of 130, 140 plus points championship lead at the conclusion of this one.
He certainly is, and then we wait with interest to see what happens with the inquiry on Jamie Gaskin and Mark Gibson, to see what effect that has on the championship round, but also the championship overall, because as you said earlier on, Jamie Gaskin and Sean Lawrence come into this championship round 4th equal on 495 points, and that's certainly going to change at the completion of this race.
Yeah, well, Sean may be able to salvage 8th, just looking at the time splits with the 5-second penalty. But it's all AJ Lauder, the championship leader, continues on, and this will be win number 5 for the championship. He's going to lead Timaru with quite possibly the biggest ever championship lead in Suzuki Swift Sport Cup history. Jamie Gaskin getting second ahead of Andrew Vincent. The Age of Soil Suzuki doing the job here at Timaru. So AJ Lauder with a 2-second win over Jamie Gaskin. Andrew Vincent in 3rd ahead of Kent Yarrell, Sean Lawrence and Sam Barry. Completing the 10, Brad Lauder, Glenn Collinson, Craig McRae and Rob Gibson.
Well, Jamie, a bit of drama in that race. What happened?
Yeah, it was a pretty eventful race, I guess you could say. First lap, I was on the inside of Mark Gibson. Obviously, we came together, and he ended up going off. So it's still under inquiry, but at this stage, I finished second. So we're pretty happy with that result, considering, but we'll have to see what happens, I guess.
What was your version of what happened?
Well, it was just a racing incident, really. I mean, I've talked to Mark, and he seems to be thinking the same thing. There's just not enough room, I guess, for 2 cars there. But, it happened, and we've both talked to each other, and we're all fine with it, so it's all good.
Well, AJ, how would you describe that weekend?
Yeah, no, it's been an awesome weekend for us, and to win the cargo round in this round has been a good South Island trip.
To finish up, we've gone back to our files. It's World Series Jetsprinting. This time, it's the Group A class, and it's in the wine-growing capital of New Zealand, Gisborne, in 2001.
Jetsprinting Group 8 was held at a brand new aqua track in Gisborne, New Zealand. The International Group A section of World Series is the most hotly contested, with over 35 boats all trying to make it through the early eliminations and go all the way to the final round. The Sun City course is wide and flowing. The track only has 4 islands, but its wide channels allow boats to reach maximum speed early on. A clay-based shallow course with flowing constant radius corners, it should be ideally suited to the International Group A boats.
You have one look at the course. How is it for you? I like the course. It's an easy drivable course, and it seems to be suiting the boat. It seems to be suiting my driving style of it as well.
Famous last words for the likeable Kiwi, who found the outer limits of the Gisborne track early. At the last round of World Series, Andrew Dalzell was the star of the show.
Straight off the trailer, he was on fire, and he continued his morning form to hold off the man who had been setting the new Zealand Retro World Series alight, Chris Monroe. Monroe was under pressure at Manfield. The pace of the other competitors, especially Andrew Dalzell, proving to be too much for Monroe in the final elimination. Jet sprinting is a sudden death sport, as Monroe found out, and things weren't getting any better for him at Gisborne.
Last round, you're coming in with a points lead, but you got some problems.
Yeah, we've got a few oil pressure problems. I'm just hoping at the moment, put more oil and hoping that's going to fix it, and see if we get through to fourth anyway.
The boat was missing. That doesn't seem like oil pressure.
No, that was, we had timing problems first up this morning. The distributor had moved overnight, and so we've got that sorted now, and now we've got oil pressure problems.
Gisborne didn't seem to be the place for Chris. His problems just kept getting worse.
What happened out there?
They just went bang and stopped. It's like a spark, couple spark, we hope.
Nothing connected with your earlier problem?
No, I think so, I don't know. You know, just had a bang and it was all over. Like, yeah, the boat's going real good. Yeah.
Well, hope you can fix it.
Yeah, we haven't got much time this time. We've got the pressure on, so.
Next race video. Do you think it's a technical course or is it just a horseback course?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's kind of a different course. It's a little bit harder for me to learn than some of the other ones because you go around the same island so many times. You kind of go over there and you're thinking, well, man, I already did this, but you just got to really stay focused.
In the previous round at Manfield, Jason Maxwell had problems with the speed of the boat. Luck was on his side, though, and he was able to hold on to fourth place and more valuable World Series points.
You had some problems with the boat. Everything fixed?
Yeah, I got it all sorted out. It's feeling really good. I had a little bit of slip in practice yesterday, but we got all that sorted out, and it's great.
The fourth place at Manfield had kept alive Jason's narrow points lead. Close behind him was the consistent Kiwi Brian Smith and another New Zealander, Rex Bryant, in third. The second round of World Series has been a struggle for Brian Smith. His pull is a little bit longer than the others, and the twists and the turns at Manfield didn't suit him well at all. Gisborne should be a little bit better for him. For the last time he raced here, he was the winner.
Tenth of a second in it. So it is on for young and old in the Firestone Group A as Taupo's Brian Smith brings his little boat home. The shotgun hull, the 406 cubic inch V8 carbureted machine, heading down to the finish line now. The time to beat is 57.64, 57.46, and Brian Smith picks up the win in the fourth and final round of the Parker NZ Championship.
Brian, last time you were here, you won. Is this going to be your day?
Well, we certainly hope so, mate, but bigger field today. Obviously you got the Americans and the Aussies here, and they're going real strong. But we're looking forward to another good result, but a little bit early in the day yet to say who's going to win, mate.
Confident of getting through today?
Oh, you always got to start off the day confident, and that's the only way to look at it. And I reckon I could get a top 4 placing if I do everything right.
Rex Bryant helped build the Gisborne track, so he should know all the traps.
Coming back after a bit of a layoff, are you surprised at the pace?
Yeah, well, not really surprised. Everyone's going to always improve. It's just everyone's so consistent. In the past, there's been a huge gap between the quick guys and the slower guys. Now everyone's pretty much, even all the way through.
With the Group A boats, it often comes down to a few hundredths of a second, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does nearly all the time. So you've got to be really on the job.
The young Aussie Steve Ditko tried hard at Manfield in a borrowed boat. This leg of World Series has been a struggle for him, and at this level, if the boat's not up to it, there's nothing you can do. Incidents and accidents were the order of the day in early rounds of qualifying. However, most of them were minor. Not so for the third round crash of Ed Langston.
Very considerably muddled. Oh, just let go. Yeah, coming around here, there was a wee bit of a wake on the corner, and it just bounced us off it, and that was it. She was away. Yeah. All happened in slow motion? No, it's all pretty quick actually. A couple of wee rollovers. Yeah, it's exciting goal. Yeah, bit of mud there.
Once again, it was Chris Monroe who topped the qualifying times, though Jason Maxwell was only a tenth of a second behind. And as usual, in the International Group A, the top 8 boats were covered by less than 2 seconds.
So we're on board here with Teresa Paris in Hollywood Racing. Now to get here, she came through with a 54.05. Let's see what she can do here as we get set to go down the front straight here at Gisborne. One of only 2 purpose-built racetracks in New Zealand's North Island. And this one, the work of the Sun City Jetsprint Club. Let's see what the Aussie can do. From Victoria in Australia, out of Melbourne, went to the US of A, of course, up in Idaho for the first few rounds of World Series, but now back in New Zealand, round number 5 here at Gisborne. The first city to see the sun. Have a look for the split time. Want to be around about 26, 27 seconds.
Oh, they're going to like that one, Rich. 27-13 for their split time. I remember watching the ladies in their first race in Spokane at the infield Playfair Horse Track. About 17,000 people on hand, and they were cheering the all-lady, the only all-ladies team on. Cassie Lack doing the navigating, and Teresa Parrish is behind the wheel. They're going to have to put themselves in at about an upper 52 to lower 53 seconds to get themselves into consideration for the final 4. What's it going to be? Here comes the clock, 53.90. That may not be good enough.
Well, hard to say, Jack, because, they've been going faster and faster right throughout the eliminations and the rounds. Will it be good enough? We'll have to wait and see. This is Ian McCavanagh in the Jander Wall boat, the JD Sawmills boat. And this is a guy that's making a welcome return back to racing in the Jet Sprints and World Series. And he's been performing with a fair bit of distinction as well. You'll see there, he's also in the 54, so that's about the benchmark at the moment. He's going to need to go quicker, though, I think, Jack.
JD Sawmills, they saw what happened in front of them with Teresa Parrish at a 53.90. And if they can get under a 27 on the split time, oh, look at her, 27.90 on the split time. That is slower than Teresa Parrish. The JD Sawmills Group A boat of Ian McCavanagh. They were number 3 in Taupo. They'd love to get out of here with at least a top 4 today.
Well, they were slow at the split, but all they got to do is beat that 53.90. You see on the bottom of your screen there, that is the time to beat. Now, can McCavanagh do anything about it? They look very relaxed in the boat, Jack, just taking it easy. Looks like they're out there for a Sunday drive. I'll tell you what, the real fact is it's a whole lot more important than that. Have a look, 54.44. That ain't going to be fast enough. I think it's trailer time for the man from Auckland.
From the New Zealand Seafood start-finish line, off we go with the Opiki Spud. This is Simon Campbell. He's a potato farmer from Manawatu. His 3rd event with his brand spanking new boat. He's been a racer with a Macraft in the past, but he decided to go to the Stinger home this time around. And at the end of the New Zealand Championships, he was 2nd overall for New Zealand, so he decided to step it up and get into World Series jet sprinting. Sometimes he does split the driving with his father Duncan, but this weekend it is Simon Campbell. Can split time to go.
And not a bad time, 26.96, so he's under the magic 27, so he's in with a sniff of this. As you were saying, Jack, he did a great job in the New Zealand Championships, but this is the first time we've seen him in the top 8 in the New Zealand swing of World Series. So hopefully Opiki Spud can come good. A potato farmer from the Opiki coast, down there, as you said, in the Manawatu region of the North Island. Watch for him. That time to beat is still that 53.90 of Teresa Parrish. So Simon Campbell crosses the line, 53.47, so he is still on the hunt, looking for the top 4.
Our 4th competitor coming out on the field of 8, looking for the flag for American flagman Corky Luther, green and on, and here we go. Andrew Dalzell, a lot of people are saying, keep your eye on this guy. This may be the man to beat today. Ian Cavanagh's time is a 54.44. That's the time that he wants to beat right now. And whatever time it's going to be, we will have our final 4 boats. Then we'll start throwing people out. With 15, 16 seconds right now for Andrew Dalzell. Take it. Oh, look at the onboard shots.
Well, you can see he's got the pace. Have a look at the fastest time in round 1, 52.78. And he's hot to trot. He won at our previous round at Manfield, so he knows what he's doing in this boat. Cylinder head services. Andrew Dalzell, son of a famous father, whose father, an All Black, a lock forward in rugby football terminology, and a superhero in the South Island. That's where he's from.
As you can tell by the times on the board right now, 54.44 is the slowest of the 3 times we've got it with Ian McCavanagh. But watch what happens here with Andrew Dalzell. If anybody can get around this brand new Gisborne track, it's going to be him. 52 or not. How about a 53.17?
Well, that just confirms his status, if you like, in World Series, because he was hot at Manfield. This man is hot also, certainly across the Tasman, because this is Kim Sanders from Melbourne, from Victoria, the state of Victoria in Australia. Hottest thing in Group A racing over there, and pretty hot here too, second in Taupo, and he got this far in Manfield as well, which was round 5, of course. This is round 6, World Series, the final round for the Group A.
Kim Sanders would love to get himself a lower 53-second pass. As you can tell, 52.87 was his best for round 1 qualifying. That was like almost unconscious. Did you see that at 26.30 for split time, fastest of the field of 8 so far. Ian McCavanagh is not looking good. Probably going to be the first on the trailer at the hands of Kim Sanders.
Well, Jack, as we get through the field, maybe Parrish not looking too good as well, because there's faster boats to come. This guy's already done a 52, so he's got the pace. Let's have a look what he can do as he works his way down to the finish line. 53.21. Not quite the pace of Dalzell, but he'll be there.
Oh, I just love this onboard camera shot as they come around the corner, picking up American flag and Corky Luther and the Haviland boat. This is going to be Brian Smith. By the way, at the inaugural race on this Gisborne track, on the grand opening, he was the Group A winner, and sitting next to him, the All-American song of the Beach Boys, Help Me Rhonda, Help Me Rhonda. And he is running the shotgun hole, which is a little bit longer, which he says suits this track much better than the shorter Mack Craft or the Stinger hulls. We'll see if this will parlay himself into at least a Final 4, and he's going to have to do so by getting himself with a very low 53 to the high 52-second. Check the split time, 26.55.
Jeff, what have you got in that water bottle? Where did you get the Beach Boys song? Forget about that. Brian Smith and Rhonda doing a fantastic job in the Caltex Haviland boat. And as Jack so rightly said, he was the master in Gisborne with the first run in this boat on this racetrack. Let's see what he can do this time round. Remember, 53.17 is the top time so far, but with the faster boats coming through, maybe he's need to go quicker. Let's have a look at it. 52, yes, 52.68, sub 53 for Brian Smith.
Maxwell to run. Coming up here next is the only American racer we've got in the Group A for this here, the World Series Jetsprinting in Gisborne. This is Jason and Stephanie Maxwell from Clarkson, Washington, the Pacific Northwest of America. And you caught it early on in the interview. He said this is a confusing track because all the islands look the same. But watch his wife, Stephanie, the way she navigates him around the track.
Well, you can certainly see who wears the pants in that household, Jack. Stephanie doing a fantastic job there. Arms waving left and right, but it's working for Jason, and that's all it's got to do. Great split time, sub 27, so he's there or thereabouts. Working his way around the serpentine Gisborne track. Gisborne, of course, the first city to see the light in the millennium. Remember the hoo-ha over there.
As you can tell on the scoreboard, 53.47. It is Simon Campbell on the bubble right now. Jason and Stephanie Maxwell, the lone American racers in the Group A for World Series Jetsprinting. What's it going to be for the Max? 51.81. Oh, man, they're going to be happy about that.
I'm just going to keep putting the pressure on. The boat's feeling great. Doesn't feel out of control or anything. It feels really good. Just going to keep at it.
What's going to be your strategy? Just now you've got points with the boat, you're not going to go hard, you're just going to sneak through?
Well, yeah, we're just going to just try and get to fourth. Yeah, keep it safe, and hopefully the oil pressure will be right. Yeah, that's the biggest worry.
So some problems out there. You heard Chris Munro saying they've got some real concerns about the engine, the oil pressure, not what it should be. And really, the gauntlet's been thrown down by Jason Maxwell. And I tell you what, Jason Maxwell has done a fantastic job in World Series, because by getting into the top 4 so far, he's clinched International Group A without having to go any further. So, the pressure on from the American, but the Kiwi can respond, make no mistake about that. Keep your fingers crossed, though, that the motor holds together. Looking for a sub-27 split. Well, he's off. He's well.
And it's split time for Hill Point Timber and Chris Monroe at 25.71. Not where he would like to be. He'd like to be a little bit faster, but then again, this has not been his day for racing. He's had oil pressure problems. He had a DNF in round number 3. His quickest pass for the day happened in the field of 16. Right now, quick for class with the Group A for World Series Jetsprinting with this race today here at Gisborne happens to be Thundercat with Jason and Stephanie Maxwell. Chris Monroe, 52-24, will put him into the final four. However, though, Ian McCavanagh, Teresa Perry, Simon Campbell, and Kim Sanders won't make it. Andrew Dalzell at 53-17. Brian Smith at a 52-68. Chris Monroe at 52-24. And number one, the lone American, Jason Maxwell, at a 51-81 for the final four. The onboard camera shot as we are back for the final four with American flagman Courtney Luther. Close green flag, and here we go. It is going to be Andrew Dalzell. He gets himself into this field of four by doing so with a 53-17. 53-17 is what he ran. He wants to put it into the upper 52 seconds to give him a chance to get into the final two. We'll see what takes place in this very, very fast course here in Gisborne, New Zealand.
Jackie, looks like he's going quicker than he did in the early rounds. Let's have a look. The split time will tell the story, but it looks like there's far more urgency. Certainly his position in the boat is a bit more hunched down in the seat. You know, he's here to play this time. I think you're going to see a good run here from Andrew Dalzell.
Andrew Dalzell, he wants to have an upper 52-second pass. So will not necessarily guarantee, but to make it pretty tough for the other ones coming up behind him. But Jason Maxwell, Chris Monroe, and Brian Smith, keep your eye on the clock. Here we go. He's got to have a 52 sub. Is it going to be? How about, a 53.02? I don't think that's going to be of any help.
It's a hard out course. It's you want your foot right into it, and then you want to drive good lines. And if you keep your boat smooth, keep the wheel nice and even, enough to get the boat round the corner without, coming round the corner and carrying on. You want your boat coming out of the corner on this course and going straight down the straight. If you're coming out of the corner and then wiggling around, you're wasting horsepower, you're wasting time.
Well, fighting words there from Brian Smith. We're on board with him, but a fantastic shot as we get set to go here at Gisborne. American flagman hits the green, and we are into it. Now, you heard him say, you've got to be very precise on this course. You've got to cut those tangents perfectly. You've got to not sort of waste time coming in and out of the corners. That's the secret for Brian Smith and his wife Rhonda, the logging contractor from Taupo. The other secret for this combination is they fly around here in Gisborne.
Looking to do a lower 26-second on the split time. They would be smiling from ear to ear if they could do that. What a great onboard camera shot. I love that. Oh, they're not going to be happy with that. A 26.82. That is slower than their field of 8 split time. They have got to get themselves below the 53.02. They got to run 53.01 and use Andrew Dalzell as block rush. They're going to be on the bubble immediately with Chris Monroe and Jason Maxwell coming up.
Well, they're in a bit of strife here, Jack. They have gone faster in the eliminations and through to the top 16. But as you say, they're a little bit slow at the split. What can they come home at? 53.22. I wonder if that's going to be good enough. Maybe not.
For Chris Monroe. Kind of basic, I guess you could say. He'd like to forget about this day unless he can make the pass of passes right here. He would love to put it in the upper 25 to lower 26 seconds on the split time and basically throw it back in the face of Jason Maxwell. As it stands right now, the bubble happens to be a 53.22. Brian Smith will be on the trailer with Monroe runs a 53.21 or faster. Split time, here it comes. Oh, look at that, 25.83.
Well, nervous time for Brian Smith now because that is a quick pass for Monroe. Remember, he's been having trouble with the engine. They just keep pouring oil into it, and they're content to run with low oil pressure. It's working for them at the moment. The Macraft and the Chev combination here at Gisborne. Look for the final time. Brian Smith will be chilling the fingernails down to the armpits as he waits. As the crowd waits too, will we see a sub 53, 51, 52? It tips over 51, 48. The pressure back on the American.
Now comes the last and final of the four. American racer Jason Maxwell with his wife Stephanie sitting next to him. 51-48. The pass by Chris Monroe. He can do it. There's no doubt about that. But will the track allow it to go faster? He's going to try to cut the corners as best as possible and get this down to the low 51 seconds. He does not want to go. It is the number 2 qualifier in the final 2. Watch out, watch out. Oh, no! Did you see that? The boat just gave itself up and basically skid across the water. Let's watch this in slow motion once again. It's just like the boat just up and took off. And oh, aren't they lucky it did not flip over. That could have been a bad crash for Jason and Stephanie Maxwell. Let's look at that again, Phil.
I'll tell you what, Jack, there's a little bit of a shelf. You can't see it. It's sort of the old adage, isn't it? What you can't see won't hurt you. Well, it hurts the Maxwells here. They pick up the shelf and then it is all over. Once the boat's in the air, there's no control at all.
I noticed they did shut the water off. So I've been noticing that it's been dropping. So I've been kind of edging out a little bit, but apparently I didn't edge out enough. So it happens.
Well, Jason Maxwell's crash doesn't stop him taking out International Group A for World Series. Brian Smith, good but not good enough. And the final will be an all-South Island affair, Dalzell versus Munro.
All right, thanks, Phil, and here we go. And then there were two American flagmen. Corky Luker's going to give him the flag, and off we go. Now it comes down to the point of hero or zero. Andrew Dalzell wants to be the one to throw this thing down, just to throw it in Chris Monroe's face. Chris Monroe's into the final two with an incredible 51-48 time. Dalzell says, I'm getting out of here with a sub-51. He's got it in him.
Well, there's a bit more than that at stake here, Jack, because these guys are near neighbours down in Winton in the deep south, in the South Island here in New Zealand. And there's pride on the line as well, because in the Taupo round, it was Munro, but in the Manfield round, it was Dalzell. So everyone's had a turn at winning. Who's it going to be this time round? We're watching Dalzell, Cylinder Head Services boat, and boy, oh
Andrew Dalzell on his pass of the day. He's pushing it harder than it's ever been pushed before. Trying to cut them corners down inch by inch by inch, foot by foot by foot to pick up those tenths of a second. He doesn't want Chris Monroe anywhere near him. Oh, a little bit closer, a little bit no. Oh, no, watch out! Oh, to the bank we go. Oh, man. Whew, what a ride. Look how close he got onto the island and pushed him off. Airborne there, airborne there. Oh, man, ride him, buck him, Bronco.
Well, have a look at this again, Jack. You'll see where it goes wrong. He just clips the island there. That sets the boat up all wrong, and then they're along for the ride. Watch this. Airborne here, back into the water, but no control at all. Airborne again, and watch out, crowd. Here I come. Andrew Dalzell, what an impact. Not the way we want to see the final two end up, but Chris Monroe, the pressure comes off him.
I was looking for a shortcut. That's what happened out there, and I knew damn well that if I went in there at full throttle, I'd have to be very tight, and I just clipped that very corner. I wasn't too worried about it because I knew it would turn the timer off, and I thought it might have been just enough to put enough pressure on Chris.
Putting enough pressure on Chris, indeed. What a lucky pass that was to turn off the timing lights for Andrew Dalzell. Yippee-yi-yay-ki-yay, here we go. Chris Monroe has got to go at 52.60 or faster. He's already ran his 51.48, and then this is it, the last pass of the day here in the brand new Gisborne track for World Series Jetsprinting Hill Point Timber. It is Chris Monroe. His 51.48 from early on is probably going to help him pick up a championship today. 25.64 in the split time. Phil?
That's all he's got to do, Jack. Now it's all the way to the finish. I think he can do a sub-52. I mean, he's shown all day he's had the pace. 51.48, his best time from the top four. He's only got to keep it smooth now and get around to the finish line. It'll be 2 wins for him in the New Zealand swing of the World Series. He won, remember, in Taupo, and Andrew Dalzell, as we told you, won in Manfield. They're near neighbours, so the pride on the line here. 52 the time to beat, 51.15. Chris Monroe takes the final round of Group A here in World Series.
And at the end of the day for Group A, Chris Monroe, number 1, and Andrew Dalzell, number 2, and also receiving bonus points, too, for that stylish slide across the islands.
All your problems went away at the end of the day?
Yeah, once we got through the first lot of cut-offs, we sort of got things sorted, and the boys mucked in, and good team effort, we got there.
And so that wraps it up for the New Zealand Open in Gisborne. The final round, points to date. Bert Robertson at number 8, Peter Shearer, Chris Monroe, Jim Bailey rounding out the top 4, Teresa Parrish, Rex Bryant, Brian Smith, and number 1, the American Jason Maxwell with Thunderjet, 142 points.
That's it for Retro Motorsport this week. We'll see you next week.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we come.